Okay, so now to get a better feel for the project, particularly in 3D, I want to put in some more physical elements before I go too far with any more of the setup. So I'm going to start with these solid walls that we've got going around most of this tenancy, and just maybe give you some tips there for that setup, because you could just trace them off the plan, but particularly where it's an important reference, as you've got down here. So here it's probably set out from a grid line or something that, also it's not a grid line, but we've got a measurement for that. And then also over here. So what you should usually do there is think about using reference planes as well as the grids to establish some of those measurements. So I'm going to draw a reference plane. So again, I should just remind you, it's on the architecture tab. You'll find the reference plane tool in the very last panel there, which is work plane, and then you can see the reference plane tool. And it's very similar to drawing grid lines. So I'm going to zoom in though to trace the line of that wall and bring it over all the way to the left so that it goes about as far as the grid line. The inside. And the reason is it's an interior project, so the interior measurements are really what we're focusing on. Okay, so I'm going to press escape now a couple of times so that I can select that reference plane and have a look at the dimensions. So now the way this was dimensioned isn't all that helpful, but we can mathematically work out what it should be. So you can see you've got the column size there. We know it's 600. So half of that is 300. And then we've got the other measurement there, 860. So 300 plus 860 is 1160. And so 1160 subtracted from this number should give us the distance from the grid line to the wall. And you need to do calculations like that when you have dimensions given to you like this. I know it might seem quicker to just draw it close to the right spot, but you're actually just creating work for yourselves if you draw things inaccurately, and you'll know the people who draw things really slowly and take forever to make changes to their models are often the ones who've tried to do it too quickly at the beginning and done it too roughly. So again, using those measurements, 1160 subtracted from 6730 minus 1160. So it's half of that column size. Half, yeah, because that's where the grid line is. So that equals 5570. So I can see over here it's actually 5618. So I can simply select that now and type in 5570, enter, and it's moved the reference plane slightly off the drawing, but that's okay, we know it's the right measurement. So I'm going to do that for all of those exterior walls. I'm going to draw a reference plane, first by tracing but then just trying to use a bit of logic to make these round numbers. They don't need to be exact copies of what's really been built or even what's been dimensioned here. The main thing is that they're round numbers. So here 346 isn't a very easy to work with measurement, but I can easily round that off to 350, which is possibly what it is anyway. It's either 350 or 300 maybe, but I'd say that there is a little gap there. So again, tracing the inside of this wall. And again, just looking at that temporary dimension there, and I'm going to round that off to maybe 11 50. And these walls that have the shop front, I'll leave for now, and we'll come back to those. And so I'm just getting those other solid walls. So again, just trying to trace that inside face. And this should give you the size of your tenancy as well. So just tracing this all the way up. Okay, so one more, oh sorry, two more. I think that's all I'll need for now. Now you'll find sometimes that you'll have AutoCAD lines that if you trace will work pretty well. So I'm going to go back and have a look at the AutoCAD. See there, so that's actually turned out exactly the same, even though I didn't actually trace the AutoCAD there. This one is a little bit off. But I think this is actually, well, let's look in the one with the image. So I think the AutoCAD's wrong in some ways. Yeah, so there you can see that's actually where the wall is, but in the AutoCAD version, it's different. So I'd say this one is more likely the right one. Again, don't be too fussy about it. It's really just to make your life easier when you're working. It's generally much easier if you don't have lots of rough measurements. If you round things off and just try and make sure they're going to connect in a good way. And so again, keep checking the original ground floor so that you can see the reference planes and the grids. The outside, yeah. So just the outside solid walls. Yep. So. Yep. So I'm just going to do the next step, and that should make it a bit clearer why you're doing reference planes. Don't worry if you haven't done them all yet, because I'm just going to draw some walls now. And it should make it a lot clearer why I'm doing it this way. So just by clicking on the wall tool, if you want to, it's walls architectural. And I'm going to then go and choose a generic wall type. And you'll see in a second, it doesn't really matter which one. I'm going to choose generic 200mm. We're going to change it to something else in a minute. So what I really want to show you here is the location line option. I'm going to change that to finish face interior. So again, you're setting out interior measurements. That's why we're using finish face interior. I'm going to change the height option there as well. I'm going to leave it on height, but I'm going to change the option next to it to level 1. And then I'm going to draw over the reference planes that I've just made, starting here, maybe on the grid line. I'm going to go to the left, and you can see that the wall goes below my reference plane. Coming over here, if I come down, the wall goes to the right, so you can see it's going outside the reference planes. I'm going to keep tracing all the way around those reference planes. So notice it's always going the right side. So the interior measurements aren't going to change. And here I'm just going to go up a little way on that reference plane. So now if we compare this to the one that we've inserted, these wall thicknesses will most likely need to change. But when I change them, it's going to keep that edge where it is. So the internal sizes won't change. Your internal space is going to stay the same size no matter what, and that's what's important to you, that you have that internal space set out and maintained at that size. So here, I'll just show you, this wall needs to be maybe half the thickness, so I can change it to generic 100 for now. Notice how the bottom stayed where it was, but the top's just been brought down. So that's why the reference planes are important, because they establish clearly those critical constraints or the measurements for the interior. So I'll give you a second just to get up to that point. You pretty much are, but you have to look at the PDF as well, yeah. Sure, sure, yep. This one? Yeah. So, yeah, the one with the PDF, I'll put that there as well. So I might just highlight those walls so you can see the ones I've drawn over. I'll give you a tick to try that.